A new COVID-19 requirement was issued to air travelers traveling to the United States. Stay with me as I break down what these requirements are. Coming right up after this. What's happening, my beautiful people? Welcome back to another video on the channel. So in today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about the new COVID-19 requirements for non-immigrants and non-US citizens who are planning to travel into the United States, and most importantly, how that is going to affect international students who are not fully vaccinated. So if you're ready, let's jump into the video. So a couple of days ago, the CDC came up with a new world order as far as traveling into the United States by air is concerned. And this new COVID-19 requirement is scheduled to go into effect on November 8th, which means that if you are watching this video and you are planning to travel to the United States, you really need to pay attention to some of these things that I'm going to talk about in the video. And what I'm going to say is going to be linked in the description below, because I'm going to be referencing the United States Department of State's website. So feel free to click on the link in the description below to read extensively on what these new requirements are, because I'm just going to touch on a few important things, especially to help inform prospective international students who have already secured their visas and they will be traveling to the United States to start their academic journey. So the major news in this whole requirement is that non-immigrants or non-US citizens who are planning to travel to the United States by air will be required to be fully vaccinated and will also need to provide proof of their vaccination prior to boarding an airplane to the United States. Let's break it down. This means that unlike when we used to submit or present a negative test result before you are allowed to board, now with this new restriction, which is meant or scheduled to go live on November 8th, any traveler who is a non-United States citizen who is planning on flying into the US will be required to show proof that they have been fully vaccinated before they will even be allowed to step foot on the plane. So what this means is that airlines will be required to look at your vaccination status, and they may have the right to prevent you from boarding if you do not show your vaccination record to show that you are fully vaccinated. However, there are some exceptions to this rule. So according to the travel.state.gov website, the exceptions to this new policy will be extremely limited. According to the website, children under the age of 18 may be exempt or may be an exception to this new policy. Secondly, people who are medically unable to receive the vaccine will also be exempted from this new policy. And thirdly, emergency travelers who do not have access to the vaccine but need to make that emergency trip to the United States will be exempt from this policy, which means that if you fall under these three categories, you will not be required to submit proof of you being fully vaccinated before you are allowed to travel to the United States of America by air. Also, humanitarian exemptions to this order will be granted on extremely limited basis. So yes, if you are coming from a country or somebody is traveling from a country that has some humanitarian kind of vibe to it, or if somebody is traveling from a country based on a humanitarian mission, that case could be looked at and that person could be exempt from the new policy. Also, according to the website, United States citizens and legal permanent residents who are eligible to travel but are not fully vaccinated will need to provide proof of a negative COVID-19 test result 1 day before their flight's departure. So prior to this new rule, travelers were required to submit test results that was not more than 72 hours old. But based on this new policy, US citizens and permanent residents who are not fully vaccinated will need to submit a negative COVID-19 test result, which is 1 day before the departure of their flight. On the other hand, United States citizens and legal permanent residents who are fully vaccinated will be required to provide proof of their vaccination and also a negative COVID-19 test result 3 days before the departure of their flight. This means that even if you are fully vaccinated, the submission of your test result is not going to be scrapped. You still need to show proof of the test results. What makes this new policy really interesting is for our international students out there who have been granted visas and are likely to be traveling to the United States soon. It means that you need to be fully vaccinated, plus you will also be required to show proof of your negative testing. Now, the reason this new policy was announced but has not been put into effect is to give the airlines enough time to kind of prepare for any kind of eventualities that will crop up before this new law or this new policy goes into effect. We all know some of the challenges that airlines had to go through when people were supposed to be submitting test results and things like that. You know, I personally saw some airlines had a lot of pushback because people were like, if I'm fully vaccinated, why am I supposed to submit test results and things like that? So I think that this new policy and how it has been outlined makes it clear that even if you are fully vaccinated as a non-immigrant and a non-US citizen, you still have to show proof of a negative test result prior to even being allowed to board the flight. This also means that if you are planning to travel to the United States, contact the specific airline that you intend to fly with to know the specific COVID-19 testing that they accept. You don't want to spend so much money getting a test only for airline A to say that nope, we do not accept these tests. Most of the time, these airlines will list the specific testing that they require on their website. And I know that recently some airlines have also been partnering with some health centers to, ensure that their passengers can get those testing there on time and effectively, so that it does not sort of create a mishap for their flight. So again, if you're an international student and you've already bought your ticket, or you are planning on traveling to come to the US anytime soon, please make sure you are checking with your airline that you intend to fly with to know the specific testing that they require. And also, if you are not vaccinated, I would suggest that you start taking the necessary steps in order to get fully vaccinated. I'm sure you're wondering which vaccines will be accepted. Well, according to NPR.org, again, I'm going to leave a link to the full article in the video description. If you've got the WHO approved vaccine, you are welcome to the United States. If not, then I really don't know. The website lists vaccines that are on the World Health Organization or the United States Food and Drug Administration Authority approved lists. And these include Pfizer BioNTech, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca Oxford, Covaxin, and the 2 Chinese vaccines, Sinopharm and Sinovac. So again, if you have any of these vaccines that I just listed, you are okay to go. If you don't, then I don't really know what could be the way out. Now, to show proof that you are fully vaccinated, you'll be required to show either your card, your vaccination card that you were given after being vaccinated, or a digital version of the card. I have mine on my phone, but you are welcome to show any of these, and then a valid photo identification card. So in this case, since you are traveling, your passport will do just fine. They just want to make sure that the information on the card matches the identification that you carry. So yes, these are some of the things that you need to think about. So if you are in Ghana or any other African country and you're an international student, this is really, really, really important. Please, if you're an international student and you've been vaccinated but you do not have a vaccination card, I would reach out to whichever health center you got vaccinated and request a vaccination card. Again, we know how some of these procedures work. elsewhere. So if you do not have this card, not only international students, if you are traveling to the United States and you are fully vaccinated but you do not have your vaccination card on you, please, that will be crucial. Start reaching out to whoever you can or whichever hospital or health center you got vaccinated to get a hold of your card. This is now going to officially be part of your traveling documents or even, your boarding pass, since you're going to have to show this before you are allowed to get on board. Like I said, I'm going to leave some links in the video description so that you can read more about this whole policy. The policy is broad, there's a lot to unpack, but I just wanted to focus on this vaccination aspect only so that, since this content is usually for international students, and I know a couple of them who will be traveling to the United States soon. Even if you are not an international student and you are still planning on just visiting the United States, most of the things that I've shared here will still apply to you. So I suggest you take some time to read further on your own so that you can get the necessary information. I am just letting you know that there's a new policy in place, or there are new rules as far as COVID-19 vaccination and traveling to the United States is concerned. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, share with me in the comment section below what you found useful about this video. If you are also watching this video and you've not seen any of my other videos, click on this card, or I'm also going to leave a couple of links to some of my videos in the description below. Do take some time to check them out. Hopefully you can find some relevant information in there. And as always, if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, kindly hit on the subscribe button and turn on notifications so that anytime a new video drops, you will not miss out. And as always, until I see you on the next video, stay safe out there. If you are not yet vaccinated, do get your vaccination. I'll see you on the next video. Peace.